family, friends, and faculty. Take a good look at the students seated before you. You recognize them as the soccer players, artists, academics, musicians, best friends, siblings, and children that you know and love. What none of you realize, however, is that unless you plan on attending the Teen Choice Awards anytime soon, you will never again be in the same room as so many victims of a dramatic on-again, off-again relationship. Question any of us, and we will tell you, Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez have nothing on the class of 2013 and IB. For many of us, today marks the completion of 8, 9, or even 10 years in the IB curriculum. During this time, we have praised IB, like when we were the smart one at summer camp, cursed IB, when the smart one later translated to nerd, embraced IB when colleges suddenly became very interested in our 4 higher levels, and even threatened to quit IB. That would happen sometime during the 3-week exam period. We've seen people leave IB, return to IB, and leave IB again. If there's one thing that can be concluded from all of this drama, it's that the IB program most certainly is not for everyone. Now, I must admit, I too have had my tiffs with our beloved global curriculum, but you see, even whenever we have vowed that we are never, ever dealing with another IB assignment again, like ever, that one redeeming quality of IB sends us crawling on back. While it's different for everyone, I always found my personal weakness in the structure of IB. So the workload was hard and the course is demanding. It didn't matter. I would always love IB because IB had a plan. Those who know me well know that I live life by the master plan. Let me clarify that I'm not walking around going, eat breakfast, check. Brush hair, check. But I do find great solace in knowing that I'm working toward a known goal. For some of you in this room, you can relate to this. Others are the polar opposite. However, whether you are a self-proclaimed planner or simply spontaneous, everyone has at one point envisioned where they will end up. For me, this moment happened at 5 years old. I was seated in my grandma's kitchen when I announced that I knew what I wanted to be whenever I grew up. Planner as I was, I knew that it was likely that I may hit a few bumps in the road, but no worries, I'd worked that in. You see, I gave myself 3 options. I would either be a cardiologist, B, Snow White, or C, a pancake flipper. I was inspired by Grammy's ability to make such a delicious breakfast. Now, you see, I had no idea what a cardiologist was, but when you're 5 and walking around telling adults that I'm going to be a cardiologist, who's going to tell you otherwise? However, after having a meltdown after getting a paper cut, my parents thought it might be wise to clue me in. So that was out. I never really explored the Snow White option. I think my dad shut that one down pretty quick. 7 boys around his daughter? Oh, I do not think so. So that left pancake flipper, an occupation that I quickly realized, much to my dismay, that I was simply not cut out to do. Thus, a lost little Taylor without a plan in sight embarked on her journey into the world of primary education. During this time, I clung to career options like they were the last piece of chocolate on earth. I could be a writer, or an astronaut, maybe an ambassador, a lawyer. I think at one point, adults became seriously concerned when at age 9, I couldn't quite manage to figure out my graduate school options. To everyone else, going with the flow was perfectly natural, but to me, it just seemed reckless. But then came IB, glorious IB, forever asking for a plan, for PYP exhibition, personal project, extended essay, the rules, the regulations. It was the safest, most practical place that I had ever known. For years, we were taught how to find the best answer, the best solution. I think I speak for all of us whenever I say that TOK, that is Theory of Knowledge, was the most daunting class in the world after so many years of careful speculation and analysis. We had found the answer. Now we were supposed to question it? After a while, I must admit that TOK began to fit in with the IB curriculum. It was simply about reinforcing the answers, making sure we understood the master plan. And if this wasn't a recipe for success, I didn't know what was. It was this attitude that accompanied me to a swanky Dartmouth admitted student reception at the Dallas Petroleum Club. Somewhere between chatting up Trevor Reese Jones and other successful Texan alumni, I ran into the Dean of Admissions. Naturally, I launched into my classic Westlake Academy explanation. Oh yes, it's a little town called Westlake. You have heard of it? Perfect. Which later led on to me gushing the statement that would forever change my outlook on life. So, whenever I meet with my advisor, how soon can I draw up my 4-year plan? The dean looked at me quizzically, and then, in as polite of a voice that she could muster, admitted, you know, we really discourage students from doing so much planning here at Dartmouth. Remember that crash that you heard on November 11th that you thought was just a raccoon on the roof? Yeah, that was my world. My childhood, my education, my precious, precious IB, all shattered. How was I supposed to live without knowing what my future entailed? But then I got to thinking about all the things that I never really planned to do. Study economics, or attend an Ivy League school, or even to some extent welcome IB into my life. At one point, I may have seen these things to be terrible mistakes, deviations from the plan, whatever it so happened to be at the time. Now, these things are my only indicators of a very unknown future. This past year, all we've heard from all of you is how many opportunities we'll have in college, how many choices we'll have to make, and how we can become anything if we set our minds to it. Now, don't get me wrong, coming from all of you, this is the epitome of sweet and optimistic. Coming from a fellow graduate, however, couldn't sound any cheesier. My fellow graduates of the class of 2013, I have come as close to a midlife crisis as an 18-year-old can get. While I return from my walk on the wiser side, I do carry with me a piece of advice that I think is worth remembering. For years, IB has taught us how to find the answer and then later to question it. I say now is the time to do neither. Don't worry about any changes to your personal game plan. Don't question why they're happening. Simply make the absolute most of whatever life is handing to you. But my senior quote from Max Ehrmann's Desiderata can say it much better than I ever could. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Congratulations, class of 2013, and good luck. Thank you.